Howdy, folks. So today I want to talk about a pretty awesome fix that's come about in the past couple weeks on the Game Toast Discord, and it involves maps that are fairly old modded maps, or I guess even newer maps. But basically, if you've ever played Battlefront 2, and this goes for any version of Battlefront 2 on PC or even Xbox if you run mods. Um, but basically, say like you queue a bunch of maps on here, and then you get to like a couple modded maps, and then you'll be playing, and eventually like the game will just crash, and that always kind of sucks. And I remember posting about this, God, like a decade ago on Reddit, and people were like, "Oh, this doesn't happen to me," and then it's just sort of like conflicting, and it's always really been annoying, because once the game crashes, you kind of lose interest in playing. And so, luckily, there's a extremely talented developer by the name of Sleepy or Prismatic Flower, and he's one of those like S tier developers for Battlefront 2. Like he knows basically everything. So he actually came out with a fix for this issue, and he posted his fix to the Discord and a tutorial on how to patch maps. And he also was the creator of the Battlefront 2 memory extension program on GitHub, which if you install it, it enables a bunch of things, like you don't have a map overflow issue, and you have more memory available and things like that. But he actually added this fix in. So if you want to not have to manually patch your maps, you can download that and patch your executable. But I'm going to show you what basically he showed me, and that's how to manually patch your maps. So for example, if you want to play on like Classic Collection or some other version, and you just want to fix your maps, like this is how you do it. So I'm just going to show like the demonstration map that we kind of like used, because this is a map that crashes quite often, and it's a good example to use. So here, say you go through and you play a Geonosis match, and then like that match ends, and then it moves on to the next map. So here is what I'm talking about. So map ends, it takes you to the score screen, and then you hit done, and then it loads in the map. And this is like one of the best Geonosis maps in my opinion. And just like that, you see it just crashes. And so like a lot of people for years would say, well, this is why you only play one modded map at a time. And that's kind of a workaround, but it's obviously not the ideal solution. And so somehow through his wizardry, Sleepy found out that this is due to certain textures in the map not having detail maps. So he found that issue with it, but then further he showed how to basically add a null texture that is available on any modded map, luckily. And so this is basically how you can do it to any map. So here I am in my add-on folder, and I have a bunch of modded maps. So I'm going to go into the mod in question, and I'm going to go to the folder. This has all the mod contents, and usually there's a folder in here that matches the add-on name. So in this case, it's G31. And so you can usually tell by the size that this is the map. This is like all the files for the actual map. So this is what we need to fix. And so the hex editing program he recommended using is this 010 editor, which I was unfamiliar with, but it's free. You can download it, and you just drag your world in here. And then you have this sort of like crazy hex editing view of all the data. And like I was a total beginner to this. I've only done like the most basic look for textures and things like that, but other people are not as much of it as a beginner as I am. So anyway, first step you're going to do once you open it up is you're going to search for the word turn. And this is how you kind of know if it's going to work. If it says found one occurrence of turn, then you're good to go. If it finds more than one, then it's probably possible to fix, but I don't know how to do it. I'm like not an expert, but by and large, most maps, luckily, unless they're very complicated, will only have like one instance of this. So you find turn, right? Then right down below it, you find DTLX, and it's usually right below it. And then usually after DTLX, it says like this scale at. So you can see when I'm clicking here, it's over here. It's adjusting. So the words are over here, the numbers are over here. So what you do is you go to this one. So after I guess 4 bytes, now we're on this first value. So what I'm going to do now is go to edit, going to insert bytes, and now I'm going to insert 14 bytes here. 14. And then you're going to put in right here null detail map. So you can see it's null underscore detail map, and I just pasted it. And so then the next step is you have to align this 53 with the line. So you go here, you hit delete twice, now it's aligned. So now the next step, you're going to click here, you're going to drag it so that all 4 of these are highlighted. Go over here to assign integer, you type 15, you'll see that changes to 0f, so that's good. So now the next step is you go up here, right next to where it says turn, you highlight these, and then you go over to signed integer, and then you double click it, you copy. I'm going to open up calculator, and then I'm going to add 12 to this value. And then if you right click on calculator, you can copy it without having commas. I'm going to paste it here. Now I'm going to go all the way to the top. I'm going to go here to these 4 values that come after UCFB, which is like a thing used in modding for like rec files and stuff. But anyway, same deal. Gonna copy this, paste it here, add 12, copy that, paste it here, hit save, done. All right, so now oh, and by the way, maybe if you might want to like make a copy before you do this, just in case you mess it up in your first try. So that should be it. So now it should have the null detail map assigned. So let's test it out now that it should work. And we'll see if it loads in. Hopefully it does. And so, man, I can't tell you how annoying it was to deal with this issue. When I would play a bunch of maps and then it would crash, I would usually just lose interest in playing because, it's kind of how it goes with gaming sessions for me. But with this, it just brings a lot of stability, and you can move these maps to classic collection and have the stability there. But yeah, here we go. See if it works. Look at that. I mean, it's just so great having this fix. This was just such an annoying issue, and this, in my opinion, is one of the best Geonosius maps. And I didn't have it in my add-ons folder for years because of this issue. It was just kind of annoying to have to like queue it first and then, not just be able to play it basically whenever I wanted. But yeah, that's the process. It's it's the same for all the maps. It's like 4 or 5 steps, and if you don't want to do that, you can download the the memory extender tool, which works on the Steam or GOG version, and you can get your maps fixed that way. And it also includes a fix for a skybox issue that some maps have, not only probably a few, But this issue is pretty common because a lot of beginner modders and lesser experienced modders, you know, I myself, like, I didn't put a detail map for all my textures because, like, I didn't see a need to. If the texture worked, it worked for me. So this issue sort of flew under the radar, and so it's nice to have it fixed. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.